What is this story doing in the Bible? This is my concern. It's not teaching any faith, any lesson. Today, our story will be about Tamar and Judah. If you are coming across my video for the first time, we try to discuss some controversial Bible stories and try to relate it to modern times and see what we make out of it. Because some of these stories are stories I never understood and they are fast becoming like obsolete. And we have seen that intentionally men of God are beginning to avoid some of these controversial stories just to save their congregation distress. And sometimes when they make efforts to explain them, we can already see the blunders they make trying to explain away the controversies. I am bringing these stories not to try to explain them, but to get the view of my audience, how and what they think about some of these Bible stories, especially the ones that are cut and joined, like didn't have a lot of details and leaving the believers guessing and trying to cross the T's and dot the I's on their own. But the story we are going to bring about today has a lot of details, very different from the ones we have brought in the past. I usually don't read the passages here just to save time. I believe that most of the people watching these videos are Christians, but even if you are not, there is internet. You can always read up, Google Genesis chapter 38 and get the whole story so that what we are trying to discuss will make more sense to you. This story needs a lot of concentration for you to understand it. It's about Judah. Judah is a man that has three sons, Er, Honor, and Shelah. Er was his first son, and he got involved with a woman called Tamar. The Bible said that Er wasn't upright in the face of God, and so God killed him. Now, according to Levirate law, a brother can take over the widow of his dead brother, right? So if I am married to a man and he dies, his brother can become my husband. That's what it means. So, and Judah, their father, of course, gave his second son honor to Tamar. But the thing is, if you acquire your brother's wife, whatever children you guys are going to have will still be your brother's children. They are not your children. You are just going to service madam and sacrifice your life, and then eventually assuming children are items you can own. You don't own human beings. So because of this, Onan was not comfortable with this law and this arrangement. He didn't want to suffer in vain. He didn't want to have children that will continue bearing his brother's name. So each time he went into Tamar, his acquired wife, he will spill the semen on the floor. And God saw this and was not happy about it. And God also put Onan to death. Now, if you are Judah, their grandfather, what would you do? Would you give your third son, the last one, to the same woman? In recent times, we would say that the woman is a witch. She has river husband. She's possessed, and whoever touches her will die. She will be banished. She will be, So, but Bible would not give us all of this kind of story. Except in this particular situation, it almost did, because Judah felt that something is abnormal here, and he was not very enthusiastic about giving his third son to Tamar. So what he did was to send Tamar back to her father's house and told her to go and wait. That Shelah, his last born, is still too young. She should go home and wait till Sheila becomes of age. Had no intention of really giving his only surviving son to Tamar. It was a way to dismiss the woman, So, but Tamar was a righteous woman. She went home. She didn't take promiscuity up. She didn't, she kept herself as a widow. She was wearing her widow's clothes until one day, Judah, their grandfather, became promiscuous. He was on a journey to somewhere, and then he decided to carry a shower. He decided to carry a prostitute. Guess what? The man was still mourning. It wasn't long the wife died. He was not supposed to sleep around. But then he decided to do a quick one and then called a woman by the roadside. Tamar had already heard that his father-in-law will be going on such a journey. Of course, if you are in wait or waiting for something, your ears and your eyes and your heart will be all in whatever it is you are waiting for. So she never left the family. Her eyes and her attention and everything was focused on the family, that all their movements, she knew about it. You know how these things work. So she heard about her father-in-law's journey and she decided to go and block him somewhere. If not anything, at least to see how they are doing, or to even make him remember that she's still here, because she's already feeling abandoned. She disguised herself. She covered herself with mask and veil and all of that, and went and stood at the roadside. And then Judah got trapped. Maybe it's not everything that the Bible will tell us. Maybe Tamar already knew that this family is promiscuous, or that Judah has some weakness with women. Otherwise, there was no way a decent girl or a widow would go and disguise herself to see if the father-in-law will accost her or will approach her. If the man is not known for that kind of thing, right? So, and she did it and it worked. Judah contracted her for the night and promised to pay her with a goat. You can imagine being a prostitute and they are paying you with a goat. But then the goat was not there now. You cannot be going to a prostitute's room and carry the goat along. So you have to make a pledge to bring the goat later. But then, how will the woman be sure that Judah will not go away in the morning without remitting the goat? So Judah had to make a pledge, give his belt and his staff to the prostitute to keep until he brings the goats. So Tamar went home, sneaked out in the morning, removed her disguise, and went home. So when Judah returned home and gave the goat to his servant to go and give to the prostitute, they could not find her anywhere because she was not a prostitute. They questioned the neighbors about a prostitute, that has a spot here, and they said there's no such thing. We've never had a prostitute like that. And then Judah said, I beg, stop asking before we disgrace ourselves, before we bring our nyash out. So Tamar went home. She already slept with Judah. She became pregnant. You know how these things are. When you are a wife and you are trying to get pregnant for your husband, or you guys are trying to conceive, it will become a work, serious work, prescription of morning, afternoon, night before you conceive. But if you are going to do oshofri or this quickie one touch, you are already pregnant. The way they are getting pregnant for celebrities. So just that one touch with Judah, she became pregnant. Now, remember that she's supposed to be a widow waiting on Sheila to grow up. So Judah heard that their widow, his son's widow, is pregnant, and it's a taboo, it's a crime. Why would you start prostituting and get pregnant when you are supposed to be a widow and waiting for my son that I am not even ready to give to you? So you know how this jungle justice, and nobody will talk about who you did it with. They brought out the woman to stone her, and the woman said, "Can I say something?" And he said, "Yes." And they said yes. So she said, "The man I'm pregnant for is the owner of this staff and this belt." You know. So, and Judah realized that, he's worse than the person he's trying to put to death. Now, uh, this story ended with the fact that Tamar, that sex they had that night resulted in pregnancy that produced twins. So Judah impregnated Tamar. Tamar that didn't have a child for the first son, didn't have a child for Onan, and then now had twins for their grandfather. So now, and remember that this Judah, their grandfather, cannot be the father to children born to a widow. That children will still be bearing his son's name. So now his a father to his grandchildren. Are you guys getting what I'm saying? He's a father to children that are to his grandchildren, because the children, according to Levirate laws, are his first son's children. Now, Tamar had two sons in the process. The twins were sons, Perez and Zerah. And there was a mix-up when she was about to give birth to them. Zerah brought out his hand, and the midwife tied a red cloth on it to identify him as the first one. But then he didn't continue coming out. He took back his hand, and then Perez came out first. And now Zerah, the one that was supposed to be the first son, now came out second. Okay, that was not enough. Do you know that Perez eventually was the one Jesus' lineage came from? David, Jesus came from the generations of Perez. What do you guys think about this Bible story? Is this story supposed to find itself in the Bible? What lessons does this story teach? Is there any lesson at all in this story? Do we need this kind of story in the Bible? Even though it's Old Testament, does it mean that it's allowed for someone to inherit the wife of his late brother? Is this permitted in any part of the world till now? You know, and not that you are even inheriting her to become your legal wife, but that you will be laboring for your late brother. What do you think of all of this? Because to me, this story is full of immorality. And then, how can two men die because of one woman? I mean, the first, even though, oh, well, these two brothers didn't die because of Tamar. God killed them for different reasons. But then, spilling sperm, and it's too much to take. And a grandfather becoming a father to his children, his grandchildren, and even carrying a prostitute. What is this story doing in the Bible? This is my concern. What is this story doing in the Bible? It's not teaching any faith, any lesson. I didn't see the lesson apart from, well, the fact that Tamar was an upright woman that went and slept with her father-in-law and got pregnant. There's no lesson. There is no lesson at all, at all. To me, there is no lesson. There's no lesson. What do you guys think? Remember that this is not preaching. I'm not bringing any theology to this. I just want us to, refresh our memories on some Bible stories and comment our opinions about them. And see you on the next one. Bye.